If you can't beat 'em, then you pop 'em. You can't man 'em, then you mop 'em. You can't stand 'em, then you drop 'em. You pop 'em, 'cause we pop 'em like over red and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
All right. Welcome back from Thanksgiving break. We have Nolan from PlebSource with us. Of course, my colleague and co-host Matt Aggie here as well. We were just talking about the weather in the South versus the weather in Chicago. We got a nice 12 inches of snow over the weekend. So, definitely it is winter here now. It is no more like that transition. But Nolan, great to have you on. Thanks for coming on to talk all things mining. I think everybody knows who Matt and I are. Why don't we let you introduce yourself, and then we can dive a little more into all things mining.
Of course. I'm Nolan. I'm from PlebSource, so we try to put tools in the hands of people that are looking to get into the mining space. Whether it's something super small, medium-sized, or you're just looking for somebody to talk to as far as educational purposes, or if you want to have a tool that helps you explain mining to somebody. Like I always talk about my dad and how he went from thinking I worked at Bitcoin to, working in an industrial mine. So it's always a funny joke. I think I've seen a bunch of T-shirts at places like Disrupt and stuff that just says my mom thinks I work at Bitcoin. I love those because I've lived that. It's pretty fun. But going from PlebSource back to before PlebSource, I ran some different industrial mines, some air, some immersion, some hydro, and just decided that it was not necessarily not for me. I do love it. I still do. But being able to teach people is what I like more. So trying to get people into the space has been something that we've been trying to do more and more. And it's been a fun journey going from, 14, 15-hour days in a hot aisle when it's 165 degrees Fahrenheit in there to, hey, check out this cool device. It's a little bit better as far as the wear and tear on the body for sure.
No, for sure. Really quick, you and I were talking about this, or the three of us were talking before we came on, and I said, why don't we just come on and talk about this? My background, I got into this in 2012, not in the mining side, just, a friend told me about it and hopped in. First, I was like, what is this that I'm even looking at? And, coming from capital markets, you're like, all right, is this some type of scam that you're getting into? And then fast forward 2017, I got into mining, and I got to tell you, like, I'd never done mining prior to that, and I'd been in computers, since I was like 12 years old. Like my dad brought home a computer, and it was insane. Like just the amount of infrastructure that goes into this. I don't think a lot of people even understand, what brings us all together. But that being said, like, what sparked your idea for PlebSource, and how did that all come about?
So in general, I was traveling a lot with Marshall, who's the co-founder, or I guess founder of PlebSource. And when we went to went on this safari, right? And on that safari were a bunch of pretty cool people, and it was pretty nice to meet some different people in the space that I hadn't seen before, but I had talked to before. And so one of those people happened to be Scott, and Scott is the creator of the Bitaxe, right? And we're out in the middle of the Kenya, the Masai Mara in the bush, right? And we're setting up a Starlink using a car battery, and we're mining on a Bitaxe in the middle of nowhere. And it was just funny to me. But I had already seen these devices, and I'd already used them to teach people like my family members and stuff about what mining is at a very basic level. And going from that, I just thought, yeah, more people need to have these. More people should know about these. The barrier to entry can be lower than this. So we took that device. We tried to manufacture as many as possible and acquire as many as possible. and just drive the point of entry down as hard as we possibly could so that more people could have access to it. And you'll see now that the price we had on Black Friday was $90 a unit, and it's under 100 per T now, like
Yeah.
significantly. So we'd like to go lower eventually, but obviously it takes a long time to get costs down to be able to do that. But yeah, it's been a fun journey going from, hey, this is cool, hey, I can use this as a tool, to I'm actually providing other people with that opportunity too.
So Nolan, just on that then, like, what do you see that's changed over time to allow this to actually happen with people in their homes being able to have like a Bitaxe? You've seen the rise and growth of large public miners and whatnot, but how has this come about? Like, why is this happening now?
I don't know about the timing necessarily, but what I have seen is that in general, I think people have become, I don't know if the word is disillusioned, but they've gotten tired of the daily news cycle of, oh, Bitcoin's fake, or, oh, Bitcoin's not real. Like, if I can't hold it in my hand, is it really real? They've kind of gotten over that type of rhetoric. And now it's just, am I interested in it or am I not interested in it? And so you have two groups of people as opposed to a spectrum of people who either believe in it or don't. And so coming from that type of, us versus them style, you have all of the ones that are interested in it now have the ability to engage with it directly and interface with it directly, as opposed to, say, 3-4 years ago, when your only option was buy an industrial ASIC, hook up 220 to 240 power in your home, and run your power bill to the moon. And in residential spaces, it's just not something that's, like, what people like to say, profitable. A lot of people like to ask us in our support channel and on my support line, how long is it going to be until I start making profit on this machine? And it's like, well, that's not something that I can really speak to, because I don't know what your power rate is. But also, these are meant to be, like, one, learning devices first and foremost, but two, it's a lottery miner, right? If you want to do the dollar cost averaging, you can do that. You can do just basic mining with a normal ASIC, which is as efficient as possible. But again, it all comes down to your power rate, and that goes back to the industrial side background that I have. Is everything is all around power. But I think the shift that you were asking about. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to say, I think it's you bring up a great point, because I don't think a lot of people so people think power, and they think immediately, oh, well, I can just do solar, or I can just do whatever, new wave power, creating power that's out there that's cheap. And it's interesting though, because having been on the other side of this, like, I think this has also given a lot of people an education on really how power works, and that not all power is equal, if you get what I mean. Like, you need, you just touched on it. So I think it would be great for you to touch on, like, what is the difference between 220 or 240 and 120, right? So there's a difference there.
So there is a difference, but the main difference, right, is the fact that in the US, the standard is like 110, 120, right?
Yep.
It's most accessible, and it's not something that you have to generally hook up extra power on in your home. You do need to monitor whatever you're plugging in. If you're over 600, 700 watts 24/7, like a home miner would be, you need to monitor that, because those plugs are generally meant to run for 8 to 12 hours, not 24 hours a day for years, right? And so when it comes to home mining in general, all of the devices that we sell, those are devices that are meant, like the ones that are complete and ready to go, those are devices that you can set, forget, and they're not going to melt your walls down, burn your house down, put anything stupid in your walls, and cause any damage, right? They're very low amperage, that kind of thing. But when it comes to just the overall power usage and the difference between 120 and 240, 240 is something that when you install it in the United States, which is most of where our audience is, the cost to do that is so high, because you need to do a dedicated run for it.
Yep.
And you have to have the breakers for it, and the infrastructure is not cheap. So then your cost for setting up a miner. Let's say you spent $5,000 on a really nice air miner. You have to have a place to put it. You got to be able to cool it. It needs to not get wet. You need to have the power run. You need to have 30 amp breaker or 20 amp breaker, I think is what you probably should get. But it's something
you're going from 200 amp. So 240 is going to be a 200 amp service. No.
I don't think you need a 200 amp service. You can run it off of your house.
No, no. I'm saying, like, if you want to do mining in your house and do it safe, like, and you're not using, one of the PlebSource miners, and you want to use an ASIC miner, like, and run all the other crap in your house. I mean, it's gonna, it's actually turning into the standard now. I'm in Chicago, and I would say that it's actually turning into the standard now where. So the standard before was a 100 amp service to the house, and 100 amp, was that 110 service, and now you're seeing 200 amp as like the standard. And really, it's also not just because of all the mining; it's also because the amount of electronics we're all using in our house, everything, and they want everything to go to electric now. So if they want everything to go to electric and you have miners, now what are you doing? Putting more stress on the system.
I do always like to joke around about just how efficient everything in your house has gotten recently. Like, mining aside, obviously mining is something, but making the comparison, and I like to make this comparison often, a normal sized fridge in your house, like a normal, GE or Frigidaire, that kind of thing, fridge. The maximum wattage that fridge is going to do once it gets to temp is like 45 watts. Usually, it's super crazy efficient.
Like, in numbers, like, what would that, like, for like the average person listening? Because most people don't have any understanding of that.
Yeah, so that's less than half of the amount of wattage that a Nerd QX++ would pull, which that's a 5 terahash miner, basically 4.8 to 5. And if you overclock it in a little more, but it's less than half of that electricity. But if you think about it, that's running in your house 24/7, and your fridge might cost you a couple of cents a day.
Yeah.
So now you think of the cost of running, 100 watts. It's very negligible. Like, most people have, bulbs in their ceiling. Most people haven't switched to LEDs yet, but a normal bulb in your ceiling, like, say you have a chandelier above your kitchen table, it's got fluorescent light bulbs in it. You got 8 of those. You could be running 8 Bitaxes, and it's going to be using a fourth of the power of those. These things have become so efficient.
Yeah. So you mentioned lottery mining earlier. I'm just curious, like, your customers that come to you, are they looking to kind of join a large pool and kind of get a few sats here and there? Are they really going for the full block themselves, solo mining, or do you have any kind of idea like what it is that they're trying to get out of running these small miners?
So we actually see both, and it's kind of fun because sometimes with the sport land that I mentioned earlier, people will call in and ask about traditional pools because they want to see, that lightning payout like on an ocean or something constantly, and some people want to see just, oh, my new best difficulty is 5.5 G, like, I want to be able to see a constant increase in my overall high score of how close I can get to being the one that solves block. But also we have people that want to, like I said, see that trickle in of sats. And I think both of those things they're going to teach you very different things. But I'd say most people head toward that lottery side just because I think the climate right now overall is just a mixture of people that want to hit it big and a mixture of people that are willing to just take the chance because in reality, like we just mentioned, the power cost, it's negligible. So like you're basically playing the lottery every 10 minutes, and you don't have any extra expenditure as opposed to like buying a scratch off ticket where you're just constantly putting money in with no payoff. So it's a nice difference. And we've seen an uptick in the solo blocks recently, like significantly. Yeah. I think you said there were about one a week. I think it's the past 3 months. I think we've had five.
There was one last week.
There was one 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt and I
it was on a space heater, but still.
Yeah. So just real quick, because you brought up the odds there. I have the numbers here. Let me know if anything's off. But Like I just did this on a Bitaxe Gamma, right? So I guess the chance per block is 1 in 900 million, and the chance per hour is like 1 in 150 million, thereabouts. And the odds of winning the Powerball are like 1 in 300 million. So I guess if I'm thinking about this right, it's kind of twice as good to run a Bitaxe, and you get to play the lottery every hour, right? Twice as good as playing the Powerball, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I guess if you're buying lottery tickets or you're buying a Bitaxe, I guess you're better odds than winning the Powerball.
Right. Oh, of course, way better odds. But even to your point, if you think about it, the Powerball is only drawn, I think, 3 times a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody doesn't win every time. Whereas
tonight it's 790 million. It's up to.
I'm gonna Google it. Let's see. But the anyway, all I was saying was that if you're looking at the solo chance, like you said, it's like 150 million per day. But if you do that per day chance, and you go down to like every block interval,
Yep.
it's obviously a little bit more crazy of a number, but you're having that chance constantly
every
day, all day, as opposed to Powerball is 3 times a week. And then, so it's an even higher chance than most people think. I think we're seeing it more often too, as the price has been volatile recently. There's larger mining operations that have been going offline, and that difficulty is going up and down. And when difficulty drops, man, everybody comes back online, and that chance goes down a little bit. So, it's a fun game, but yeah.
So with you bring up some valid points though. I mean, what have you, from your background and what you're seeing go on? I mean, obviously the prices and the cost of electricity are huge factors in mining. Price of electricity in the US is not going down. It has gone up, and it's only going to go up even more. Especially here in Illinois, it's insane. But that being said, I mean, what are you seeing miners do to kind of offset that issue? In addition to, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people get into AI to help, but what have you been seeing?
Are you talking about the industrial level or the home level?
Yeah, industrial.
Industrial?
Yeah.
I can't say I can speak to the industrial level much, because most industrial miners that I know of, like the large, not super large, but anything past, to 10 megawatts, all of those guys generally have something that's a fixed contract. So their power rate's not going to change, right? Those are the people that are, as the power rates increase, those people are very much safe from it for sometimes a year, sometimes 5 years, sometimes more. But I wouldn't worry too much about them necessarily. The ones that are pivoting to AI, those people are likely at the end of that contract or couldn't get one that's as good. But I don't know what the curtailable load is like for AI. I'm not sure if AI is something that can be turned off on a whim, like ASIC mining can. And that's one of the main incentives behind it, is that in places like Texas, where the reason it became the capital of Bitcoin mining is because a lot of power programs, you need to have a load that's flexible. And with production plants or breweries or anything that needs to be operating the entire time that you're producing something, is you can't turn off that. You can't curtail that load, right? With ASICs, you can turn it off at any point and then resume it at a later time. So if there's a peak demand, then you can turn off, and there's a incentive for that. There's a power incentive for that. So you can keep your price low if you participate in these programs, and you do lose out on whatever you'd mine during that time, but they do reimburse you just a little bit if you participate the way they want you to, which it basically is a wash, but it allows, oh, hey, we have a winter storm in Texas. If there's a winter storm and everybody's power is going out, or they just need more power allocation because everybody's heater is on at one time, they can curtail all the loads at peak demand hours, and suddenly the grid is just fine. Like about this most recent winter, there was no major grid emergency because of curtailable loads. It's been much safer. It's nice.
No, I mean, I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, a lot of the electric problems we're facing, I hate to say it, I think are human. Like, I mean, we have the ability to create more capacity. Like, it's really getting through all the politics.
Yeah,
I mean,
I try to stay away from most of that if I can.
that's my whole point. Like, especially in Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois has how many nuclear power plants? We have a lot. And, I mean, nuclear, I'm not going to go down a political route, but, it's been one of those things. I think we're seeing there's going to be other ways to generate power. And it's really comes down to the upfront outlay of the infrastructure, because that's the biggest expenditure. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I did see a comparison a couple of weeks ago that showed all of the nuclear waste that had been contained and then arranged in a safe manner, but after its disposal, it's been displayed, right? And 20 years of fuel, like nuclear fuel, 20 years worth of fuel byproduct fits within 50 yards of a football field. And I thought that was crazy. Like, we've been told so many different things about nuclear power, and nuclear power is so cool. Obviously, it requires a lot of, upkeep, but
mhm.
the expenditure is so much lower than the other methods that we have. So I'd like to see more stuff. I want to go on a tour of a nuclear facility, but I know that you have to have actual credentials of those. There's actually a YouTuber, his channel is called Smarter Every Day. He recently toured a nuclear facility. So it's been something that I've been interested in for sure.
I mean, it's gotten a lot safer over time.
So
but
much safer.
It's not. I wouldn't want to live next to one, but I don't know. But I only have about a minute left here, and then I got to wrap up because I got to hop to another item. But that being said, Matt, why don't you take the last? I'll leave you with the last question.
Yeah, sure. Nolan, I just wanted to ask you about Cyber Monday, and you've got, I guess, the store where you're selling things, but you've also got this educational component for tinkerers or hobbyists. Like, so what's going on at PlebSource, and where can people reach you?
Oh, so I don't know if our deals extend through Monday. We did get such a large reception that I'm actually very far behind on getting all these orders fulfilled. But it's been fun. Been working all weekend. It's been great. The reception's been great. But the PlebSource.com is obviously our number one site. We're the best. We try to put everything we can. We only want to put on there what we actually have in hand. So some stuff, obviously, if it's running late or like from the factory, we just try to make sure that we have time to test it before we send it to somebody, just so we can verify it. But outside of that, man, you can find us on Twitter as well, or X, at PlebSource. We try to run giveaways. We try to run. Oh, hey, this just popped up on my screen.
Yeah, no, we got our guy Ryan. He actually just scooped up his first machine. So
nice, fantastic. Well, I'll try to get that out as soon as I possibly can. Absolutely, that's super cool. I didn't even notice that was a feature on here.
Yeah,
but yeah. Outside of that, man, I don't really have anything else crazy to add. But yeah, anybody can reach out anytime, even if you get something from another vendor. Like, we'll try to help as much as possible.
Love it. Well, we'll have you back on here, Nolan. This was great. Sorry for the limited time, but we'll definitely bring you back. And Matt, thanks as always for taking the time. And we'll see everybody back here next Monday with some additional topics.
All right. Thanks, Nolan. Appreciate you joining. Thanks, Sean.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, guys.